Yo, it's Joe, and welcome to another video. We're about to be looking at Laura Bailey's Between the Sheets. We're gonna get into it and see what Laura Bailey's story is about. We got Travis's, now we gotta get Laura's.
Hello, my name is Brian W. Foster, and thank you for joining us. On this episode, I sit down for a maple bourbon sour with the lovely and talented Laura Bailey. We discuss her theater background, acting and directing voiceover at a young age, becoming a mother, and so much more on this episode of Between the Sheets. Enjoy.
What a clever name, too, In Between the Sheets.
Laura, cheers. Maple bourbon sour.
Heck yeah, man.
It's delicious. My mom starts drinking these about 8 a.m.
That's strong.
It's pretty strong. It's good
Yeah.
though. It's got a little. It's kind of like a whiskey sour, but with bourbon. I don't know.
How did we decide on this drink?
I used to make these for you years ago.
I
in
remember
New
that.
York City.
New York
New
City.
This stuff's made in.
Military grades.
Where did you grow up? Born and raised.
Born in Mississippi. Yeah, my dad was in the Air Force.
Yeah.
So we traveled.
Nice.
A lot. So I was born in Mississippi. Then we moved to Oklahoma. Then we moved to San Antonio. Then we moved to North Texas. And that was all before I was like 6 years old.
That's that military life, man. You're always moving.
And then once I was in North Texas, we moved, I don't know, like 5 times before I was in high school.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
Was that hard to make friends, or to feel like you were grounded or had consistency?
Yeah, no, it was weird because like at one school I would be cool, and then at the next school I would be a total loser.
Yeah.
So it kind of balanced.
Damn.
Just because of the way you acted, or?
No, you weren't, Laura. I'm sure you were just as awesome as you are now. Yeah, that military life is difficult, man. I have family that's in the military. Not immediate, but you know, I know it's rough. You're always moving, you know, constantly going places. And it can definitely be rough, you know, maintaining friends or even wanting to make friends. I'm sure, like, if you move around a lot, it might get to the point where, like, you're even just like, man, what's the point? Why even try to make friends? I'm going to move soon anyways. If any of you guys were in the military that's watching this, let me know, like, how it was for you and, like, how you relate to her, you know? Because I don't have that perspective, you know, so maybe that you can, like, kind of have a little eye-opener on stuff like that for the people like me that might be watching this that don't really have, excuse me, that perspective on things.
No, just because like different schools, like different things were cool, and you know, some.
And you're in different parts of the country where different.
Well, no, this was all in North Texas, so it was literally
Oh.
from like one school in Allen, Texas, to another elementary school in Allen, Texas,
Wow.
and like the.
Damn.
kids.
I mean, Texas is
You have a
huge,
sister?
though.
I do.
Older or younger?
She's older. She's 3 years older.
Yeah.
Jenny, she's amazing.
Did she?
Who just texted me the other day, and she was like, "I've become addicted to Critical Role."
Really?
I know, and I'm like, "Whoa,
Wow.
it's close."
What was the pushing point for her to finally join the?
Well, no, we always wanted to play Dungeons and Dragons when we were kids, but we just could never get a hold of it. Like, just wasn't available to us.
What do you mean?
You know, like.
You didn't know anybody that played?
Yeah,
It
we
was
didn't know
like,
anybody that
what,
played,
just
and
the
then.
two of you?
Yeah.
This is kind of like an unrelated note. I meant to bring this up last time. I don't know why, and I forget the actor's name, but if you've seen Parks and Recreations, the guy who ends up marrying Leslie, I don't know why this guy reminds me of him a little bit, and it's like not in a bad way. It's just I don't know. When I look at him and like when I hear him talk, I don't know why I just get like that guy pops in my head. So I just thought I'd throw that out there. I didn't want to talk over them, so like let's actually move back a bit.
You know, like.
You didn't know anybody that played?
Yeah,
It
we
was
didn't know
like,
anybody that
what,
played,
just
and
the
then.
two of you?
Yeah, and then, you know.
Yeah.
So, she ran a comic book store for a while, so she had kids that came in the store that would play and stuff, and she always wanted to, and she still hasn't.
Oh, Laura, you got to get her in there, man.
About what age were you when you started to get into drama and theater? And was that not till
gosh.
high school, or was that younger?
No, I tried out for stuff in middle school, So how old are you in middle school?
Well, I was 19.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
You're a bad judge of
Yeah,
that.
I'm not.
Probably like what, like 12? Is
I
that
think you're
how
like
old you are?
Yeah, 11, 12 years old. Yeah.
I tried out. I was incredibly shy because we moved around a lot, you know. So I tried out for Romeo and Juliet in middle school because, you know, middle school should do Shakespeare.
Yeah, of course.
And
Accessible.
I was terrible. Like, I talked so quiet that the teacher couldn't hear me, like, from the stage to her seat in the front row. And I couldn't talk any louder than that.
Do you think your shyness, you said it comes from, you know, moving a bunch and everything.
Yeah.
It's hard to picture you as a shy individual.
I feel like that, like joining something that is gonna kind of force you to come out of your shell, is a great way to do just that as far as like public speaking. I mentioned in the last in between the sheets in Travis's video that I was actually in speech and debate, and when I moved, I had moved right after graduating from 8th grade to high school. I had moved like right before my freshman year to another town, and I didn't really know anybody, and I was kind of shy and reserved. And one of the first people that I met, that's one of my best friends now, he was in speech and debate, and he said that it would help me come out of my shell, and it would help me kind of learn how to be more comfortable speaking in front of people. And it worked. You know, I had to kind of force myself to do it. I didn't want to do it, but I figured maybe this will be a good thing for me. And I did it, and long story short, my first tournament, I got a 3rd place trophy. Like, you know what I mean? I didn't know what I was doing, but apparently, you know, it worked out okay. So, there's always a whether or not whether or not I would have gotten that trophy or whatever, it just would have been, it's a good experience for yourself to put yourself in that zone and out of your comfort zone, and to do something new to help you with things like that. So yeah, I just want to throw that out there because, you know, what she's talking about, you know, at least she tried it, and, you know, we'll see what happens.
You know, moving a bunch and everything.
Yeah.
It's hard to picture you as a shy individual. Not
But
that
I'm
you're-
still like, think about it when I'm at parties or something.
Yeah, you're pretty quiet.
I'm pretty quiet.
Yeah, you're not the most outgoing, but if
Right.
you strike up a conversation with you,
Then
you're
sure,
very
yeah.
conversational.
Yeah. I'm find the dog in the corner and
Yeah,
sit
yeah, yeah.
at the dog the entire time.
But you usually end up just talking to me.
It's an interesting analogy.
Same difference.
Yeah.
We both pee on the floor. So how'd you overcome the shyness?
You know, I think so. I started going to a youth group when I was a freshman.
Like a church youth group?
A
thing?
church youth
Yeah,
group.
Yeah,
Because up until that point, I was like super, like even during school lunch, I wouldn't eat in the cafeteria. I was so like
Wow.
awkward in the cafeteria. I hated finding the table, so I would always just like, I was part of the science lab team, so I would eat in the science lab.
Oh.
And one
That's
of my
cool.
friends who also ate in the science lab, she was like, I have this youth group that I go to, but I don't really know anybody, and it kind of makes me uncomfortable when I'm there. So I said I would go with her so that she wouldn't be alone, and then both of us just kind of became friends with the rest of the group, and it really brought both of our personalities out a lot.
You think that made a difference in it being easier for you to make friends?
Yeah,
Just getting a
huge.
little bit
Well,
of
because
practice and-
you know, you go to the church youth group and like, it's the cool kids mixed in with the not so cool kids, you know, and then you feel a little more comfortable and realize that everybody's just the same.
I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like that's every group that you're in. You know, you're gonna have a mixture of like, you know, decent, you know, kids that are decently popular, kids that aren't really popular, but you know, you're all there for the same reason, because you have like an interest or a passion or a love for whatever you want to call it, certain topic, you know, whatever club you're in or group you're in, you know. So at the end of the day, there's always that middle ground. There's always something that you guys can fall back on to have that conversation, to have a good time, to relate, and to like build that friendship. That's why I think like clubs and stuff like that, clubs specifically and stuff that you're interested in, not things that you're forced to get into, things that you genuinely want to go into. I think that that's like such a great way to meet new people and to make friends, especially in that scenario that she had to go through where she was moving around constantly. I think it's great. So yeah, no matter what club you're in, man, as long as you love what you do, I think is a beautiful thing.
In high school, did you give it another try, acting and doing theater? and
Yeah,
stuff,
so I was
after you
doing-
sort of came out of your shell a little bit more?
I was doing choir because you can kind of hide with that. And we did a yearly musical, and we were doing My Fair Lady.
Oh.
Mhm.
And so I was
Mhm.
auditioning for it, and I was a freshman, and at my school you couldn't get a lead part if you were a freshman.
Yeah,
You're just
mine
not allowed
too.
to. But the girl who was a senior that got the lead of Eliza came up to me afterwards, and she was like, "You should audition for theater because I think you're really good. I watched your audition, and she's like, if I had my choice, you would be my understudy. I think you're really great." And
That's
it was
awesome.
like I idolized this girl. I thought she was amazing. Her name was Ellie, and I just thought she was the best actress and the best singer. And so I went and auditioned for the next theater production that they had, and that's when I started doing theater.
You got the part.
I don't remember if I got the part, but I just loved theater after
It would've
that.
been
and I
nice if she
started
did.
taking theater classes.
That's a big thing. If you ever see somebody that you think is doing a good job or somebody that could use some encouragement and you have something nice to say, give them a compliment. Let them know. Because in her situation, like in her case, that was something where, unbeknownst to this person, she idolized that person or she admired the skill in the subject, like in the subject of theater, that this girl had that she, until that point, didn't think that she herself had. So it's not necessarily going to be that way, but whenever you can like give somebody a compliment or something, and like kind of nudge them in the right direction, like with positivity, you never know. That could be the the one thing that makes them say, you know what, I can do this. And I'm sure that that little pushing off points, helped to snowball her into the direction to where she's doing what she loves now. It's something minor, man, but every little thing like that that pushes you to do something that you like or love or you have a passion for, it's those are big moments in your life. So whenever you could possibly be that moment for somebody else, or be that push, be that person, be that person.
This is in addition to just choir classes.
When did you figure out that you liked singing?
Let's go back a bit. Hold on.
Theater class. I don't remember if I got the part, but I just loved theater after
Yeah.
that, and I started taking theater classes in addition to just choir classes.
When did you figure out that you liked singing?
Oh, I was in choir as soon as I could, so probably like when I was 10 or 11 or something.
Oh shit!
enjoyed
When she
it?
was young.
It
Yeah,
was
I loved
something
like
that-
music class and everything.
Were you always singing along with,
Who
your-
didn't like music when they were a kid? I mean, Disney. Come on.
I like Disney
Yeah.
I
now.
would sing along with Ariel all the time.
We don't talk about
Do you like
Bruno,
musicals more, or do you
Surface
like
Pressure. That's just
straight
recent.
acting, theater stuff? Because obviously you love singing, but
I do.
mixing the two of those.
Let me go back a little bit. But yeah, man, I had like a whole Disney playlist on my iPod way back when I had an iPod, and I would listen to all like the Lion King songs, Little Mermaid, Hercules, Hunchback of Notre Dame, the song Hellfire. If you haven't heard that, bro. Disney has got some bangers. They are slept on, and I don't care what you say about me. If you listen to them yourself, you'll see that a lot of these songs are great. From the classics to the new ones. They do a great job.
Straight acting, theater stuff. Because obviously you love singing, but
I do.
mixing the two of those.
I didn't do a lot of musicals in college. I did more just straight up theater. Yeah, I got.
Is there a difference? For any of you guys that are into this, like the theater and plays and stuff like that, what's the difference? Because I didn't even know that there was really a difference between the two. I thought it was all the same thing.
In college, I did more just straight up theater. Yeah, I got shy again singing. I don't remember what point that hit, and I like convinced myself that I couldn't actually sing, and it's taken a long time to kind of remind myself that, oh yeah, I can do that again.
What happened there? You just got in your own head?
Yeah, I just got nervous. I still get nervous, like whenever I have to sing for anything when I'm on a mic, and you're in the booth and there's all these people out there staring at you. I get really, and now I just try to fake it that I feel confident, and like hopefully they believe it.
Does singing feel more
Wow, even now.
vulnerable to you than just
Yes.
acting?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Because if you're acting, you can hide behind
the other
a
character, but
and their voice and their mannerisms. But
Right.
if you're singing even in character and even in a musical, it's really you.
it is, and you're putting yourself out there, and your voice cracks. You can't, if you're doing a play and you stumble on a line, you can play that off. But if you stumble in the song, you can't really.
You have to start it all over.
Yeah, you just stop the whole production and tell them to start the song over. That's usually what you do, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's the least intrusive way to interrupt it.
Mate.
It's okay.
Sorry about that.
It just sounds like
we're making music
a
here.
We're making music here now, yeah. Second half of this will be you singing.
Great, I can't wait.
I have a whole list of things I want to hear you sing.
It's going to be the best.
Katie Holmes hadn't done that.
Then did you go, okay, this acting thing, I'm really passionate about this. This is something that I want to pursue.
Oh, God.
Was there a moment for you?
No,
or
there was a
gradual?
moment. There was a moment, and it's like the most stupid moment.
Tell me.
Oh, let us hear it.
So, I was doing theater, but I was sure I still wanted to be a biologist. I was studying science and everything like that. Science lab, as I told you.
Yeah.
And I was watching this. So I never watched the show. I haven't seen an episode of Dawson's Creek.
Oh, Dawson's Creek.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
A timeless classic.
Yes. But I was home and I was watching a behind.
I don't know about Dawson's Creek, but I could tell you a little bit about Moody's Point. If you know, you know. Fire.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
A timeless classic.
Yes, but I was home and I was watching a behind-the-scenes thing. For some reason, it was on TV, and Katie Holmes was being interviewed, and she was my age at the time. You know, she still is probably my age.
Wait, she changed it.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I don't know how that works.
She was my age at the
she
time.
was in high school, and she was talking about how she auditioned for the show, but she almost didn't take the part because she was doing a play in school, and she would have let her whole production at school down. So, she just seemed so much like a normal person as she was talking about all of these things, and it was the first time that I realized, oh my God, you can actually pursue this as a career and just be human doing it. And so I turned off the program as soon as it was done, and I called up my mom and I was like, I want to be an actress. Like, I never realized I could actually do that. I want to be an actor. And she's like, Laura, you can't be an actor. I'm like, I'm going to do it. And I went to school the next day and I talked to my theater director, and she also said that you should probably finish school before you decide you're going to do it. But it didn't seem like Katie Holmes hadn't done that. That didn't make sense to me.
Were you going to drop out?
No. But
Okay.
I just wanted to, like, I was like, how do I get an agent? Who do I talk to make this happen? And
You immediately wanted to
I
pursue
immediately
it.
wanted to pursue it.
Wow.
Just like a light switched on in my head.
What were the reasons why your mom was reluctant? Was your dad reluctant too?
Oh,
or
both
was
of
it...
them. Like the first thing I ever
This is a
really
competitive
pursued
field, probably, you
professionally
know.
was FUNimation, right? Was
Yeah.
when I started doing anime. And my audition for that was, so the way Dallas...
Real quick, like my best friend, that's what he's doing. He's an actor, and it's super competitive, dude. It's not easy. So I understand like people being, I don't know if you want to go down that route, but I always say just show support, because you never know what can happen,
doing anime. And my audition for that was, so the way Dallas is set up, I lived in Allen, and the audition was in Fort Worth. So that's, like a 45-hour drive. And my mom was like, Laura, you don't want to audition for this show. You don't want to audition for this anime thing. She's like, your commitment is to college, to school, and that's just a distraction. I was like, no, I really want to do it. So I went and auditioned and got the part, and then after a year of doing it, then my mom was like, and I had to reapply for my college classes. My mom was like, Laura, your first commitment is to FUNimation. You should really put this college thing at just like
Wow,
a total switch.
what a
Because she realized,
180.
oh, it's actually a profession. You can do this.
Was there anything she saw in how much you enjoyed it or took to it that you think changed her mind?
I think when she realized you can get paid.
Yeah, you could actually make a living.
Because nobody,
from it.
yeah, like up until that point, especially in Allen, Texas, nobody thinks like you can actually make a career out of acting.
Acting.
Yeah.
So how old were you when you got that first Funimation part?
I had just graduated high school, so I was 18.
And then you went on to do a lot of work with them.
Yeah. Well, I stayed with, the whole time I was in Texas, I was working at FUNimation, and I just looked straight at the camera. Hi.
Hi, Laura.
Now that's just heart music. That's all that happens. It's just, I'm muted, it's just heart music is going right now.
What was I saying?
So you got that first gig at Funimation.
Yes.
And then went to college
I was doing it at the same time.
at the same time.
You know, it's funny because I had a recording session for Dragon Ball Z, and Barry. God, what's his name?
Allen.
He was.
That's what I was thinking.
What?
Sanders. Barry Sanders.
Barry Allen actually sounded really familiar, but that's not it, is it?
No.
Anyway,
That's the Flash.
he was. He was one of the executives at Funimation. He was like one of the guys in charge, like to own the company.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a session, and I didn't go to my recording session because I had a college orientation that I had to go to. And
boy.
so totally last minute, I was like, no, I can't make it to the session, and I went to the college orientation instead. And I got a phone call from like the president of Funimation afterwards. And he called me and he said, Laura, this isn't a college class. This is a production. This is a professional environment, and you can't just not show up.
Yeah.
If you schedule a session, you have to show up to it. And that was like when I realized, I need to maybe stop going to school if it gets in the way. So I kept missing class to go to my recording sessions, and finally my film teacher in college just said, Laura, just stop coming to class.
So you never graduated college?
I didn't. She said, stop coming to class because this is what you're coming to school for, and you're already doing it, so just go do it.
Yeah,
Any regrets
makes
at all
sense.
about that? Obviously,
No.
you've become extremely successful by doing voiceover and acting.
Right. No, I
You
don't.
didn't need the rest of that college, really, in order to become a successful person.
Right, and I totally get it for people that want to do it.
Yeah.
I think it's a fluke that it worked out for me.
Yeah.
You know, because I
Yeah.
support going to school and going to college and everything like that. But
But how many people land a first-time role sort of straight out of high school like
Right.
this?
Yeah, it's a lot of luck.
Thank you,
Yeah,
Katie
that's luck.
thanks, Katie Holmes.
You did it.
I mean, Katie
Hashtag-
Holmes. How fucking
Hashtag
weird
thanks,
is that?
Katie
Have you ever
Holmes.
met her?
No.
If you ever meet her, you have to tell her that story.
She would be like, get the fuck away from me. Who are you?
But most people say that.
Maybe
to
she
you.
wouldn't. Maybe she's really nice. I don't know.
She's probably really nice. So then you end up directing some stuff for Funimation
I
too.
did. Look at you. Yeah, I did. I directed.
Oh, really?
How was that experience for you?
It was great.
Did you take to it naturally?
Well, I directed shows that I was already working
A
on.
part of.
Yeah, so I kind of like took over directing. I directed Gunslinger Girl, and I
Mhm.
directed Kodacha. Can't remember what else I directed. Some other stuff.
And were you college age-ish when you were already directing
Early
stuff
20s.
there?
Early 20s.
20s?
Yeah. I directed up
awesome.
until the point that I came out to California.
Hmm.
That's when I stopped.
Did you have a hard time being taken seriously?
I actually produced over at Funimation too.
Yeah.
I became a line producer.
Produced, directed,
Mhm.
starred? Did you have trouble with anybody taking you
Seriously?
or respecting you because you were young and
Yeah,
doing
one of
that
my
part?
first recording sessions that I was directing, I had an older gentleman that came in, and he was not having it. He just thought it was so dumb that I was directing him. Which, I mean, I totally get. If it looked like some like little high school kid was directing me, I'd be like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
I've been doing this since you were in the womb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And did you win him over?
No, I'm sure I did, and I'm sure he was still annoyed when he left. But
What was your favorite show that you ended up doing out of all those great Funimation?
my favorite?
Yeah, what was the one that really lived with you and you think about it to this day? Because that was really that was the launching pad for your career, but it was also the launching pad for a lot of people in the voiceover world that,
Yeah.
that you know and that are now in LA working.
So many people came from.
Started out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, it's a great.
Absolutely.
It's anime is so much harder than anybody gives it credit for.
Mm.
It is. We call it voice acting boot camp
Why?
because it's so much more work than doing like Western animation. You know, here you get the script and you go in a room, and I mean, you get the script ahead of time. You get to look at it. You get to look at your beats and work off of other people, and it's huge. And you're like,
Mm-hmm.
and in anime, you just are in a room by yourself and you're watching a video, and you don't get to decide where you want the character to go. You're taking something that's already been built and breaking it back down, and then trying to put it back together.
How do you find making creative choices with something that has so many,
Limitations.
limitations on it and boundaries?
I-
Because you have lip flaps, you have,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy the challenge. It's actually really fun for me to do anime because it can be so hard to give a believable performance when you're stuck to certain
Mm.
timings.
Yeah.
And I really enjoyed
Yeah,
it.
that's what Travis said. Same thing.
Who were
Lip
some
flaps
of the
seem to
people
be
that
pretty
you looked
hard.
up to when you were starting out?
Like to sync with
Well,
sometimes.
Chris Sabat was the first
Yeah.
person that gave me a
To
job.
the legend, man, Chris Sabat.
So welcoming and hilarious, and made me so comfortable there.
Still
So
friends with him to
still
this
friends
day.
with- he was at our
Yeah.
wedding.
Yeah.
um,
Who else? Just Chris.
Just Chris.
He's loving this.
Yeah,
Yeah, right.
it
Chris,
was
Chris,
just
He
Chris.
feels so validated.
Colleen
Yeah.
Finkenbeard, who was my roommate for a while.
Yeah.
And I actually got her started at Funimation, but then she just like took off directing way before me.
Do you still
She's-
take credit for her?
I,
career,
I
though?
com- take complete credit.
You
for
should.
her. No, she's so talented. We did a play together, and that's how we met.
You did play together when you were in college?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I did a play with her. That's how we met. And then she was like, "Wait, what do you do? Can you get me in the door? Awesome."
Really?
Yeah.
Once the dropout of college thing happened, and then you started, you know, or quit, whatever.
It just
walked
kind of like
away.
melted away.
It just
wasn't
sort
like
of, it was a dissolve.
it really was. It was a dissolve.
Yeah.
By the end I wasn't taking any real classes. It was only theater
Mhm.
and like music classes. And
Well,
then
yeah, I
that's
mean, that's what you're passionate
What
about.
were you interested
Why
in
would you take anything else?
outside of acting? Because you love fantasy novels, you
Yeah.
love a lot
That's
of
a good
nerdy stuff.
question.
You talked about being in the science program.
Yes.
What,
That and writing. Did
And
a lot,
writing.
like creative writing and stuff.
what kind of stuff did you like to write?
That makes sense how she got into directing, you know? She liked writing.
Fan fiction?
Fan fiction / fiction.
Yeah.
Nice.
No, just normal. I didn't. Oh God, I did make up a fantasy story now that I think about it.
What was it about?
Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
Do you have it still?
I don't know, maybe somewhere. But I realized, like, I gave up on it because I realized it was turning into, it sounded like a game guide, when you're playing a computer game. It's like, walk over this direction and then look at the door and, yeah, so I
First
gave
draft
up on the book.
fantasy-
It was terrible.
Fantasy
It was
fan
about
fiction?
a girl named Eleanor
Mhm.
Oh.
who was a princess.
Oh, of
And
course.
she escaped. It sounds a lot like Disenchanted.
From a
now that I
tower or
think
some
about it.
shit?
Do you want to sue them?
Oh my gosh. No, and she comes across like she meets a
Hashtag Laura did it first, man. Gotta get them
right.
royalties, Laura.
What was attractive to you about doing science at a young age and exploring that stuff?
I just thought it was amazing that we're made up of tiny little cells and how they work and come together, and it was just so crazy to me that everything was made up of the same things.
It is pretty wild.
Sometime during those Funimation days,
Yeah.
years, you got a call from Travis Willingham, who saw your name in the Dragon Ball Z credits,
Yeah.
and you guys had dated briefly.
We had not dated by this point.
Oh, by this point you hadn't. Okay.
Right.
So
At
but
this point, he was just a dude that I
he
knew.
just knew you.
Yeah.
He was just a
Mhm.
dude you knew.
Yeah.
So he calls you and says, "Hey, I saw your name on Dragon
Yeah.
Ball Z. I'm obsessed with Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
Can you get me a job?"
Yeah.
What was your response to that?
It's like, yeah. Yeah, I totally can.
And then did you?
I just forgot. I just kept forgetting.
What, 2 years?
A long time.
Damn.
I know. I realized I told the story about how I got Colleen in the door, like,
Did him
and then
dirty.
I forgot. Yeah, Travis. He's so good.
We'll get
I
to
really
him when
should
we
have
get to
introduced
him.
him earlier.
When
But
he
I didn't
finally
know
came
him.
in, you
We
went,
don't want to hear all that, Laura. We don't want to hear it. You disrespected Travi. We don't want to hear it. You lucky you cool. If Travi is rocking with you, I'm rocking with you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm rocking with you anyway. But I mean, why you do my boy like that though? That's crazy.
Mm.
I really should have introduced him earlier.
When
but
he
I didn't
finally
know
came
him.
in, you went, "Man, we could have used this guy 2 years ago."
Yeah, he's pretty talented.
So then,
There were so many people. That's the thing. Like, Funimation in Dallas was like the cool thing to do, right? So
Yeah.
any job that I worked on, there were always people there like, I can do a little kid voice. I can do this voice. Can you just get me in the door? And you just kind of stop paying attention to it.
at what point did other stuff start to come in as a result of what you were doing at Funimation? Enough to where you decided, okay, it's time for me to try and move to LA to pursue this.
Actually, what I was doing at Funimation is not the reason I ever moved out to LA.
Okay.
I was doing a lot of on-camera work outside of Funimation.
Yeah.
And I had done big stuff, a Lifetime movie.
Mm-hmm.
And-
Was that the
Aw,
one
shit.
based on the staircase murders?
Why, yes, it is,
Okay,
Brian.
I saw that movie.
The
Super
staircase
talented
murders.
in my like 3 scenes.
I saw the staircase documentary. The
It's
one,
really
the one from
interesting.
years ago,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
the
yeah.
new one that Netflix put on, but I saw that years ago, and I went on a deep Google dive,
Yeah.
reading all about what had happened and everything, and I come across a picture of you with this, short,
Yeah.
weird haircut, and
The drip
no
was
way,
fire.
that's Laura. It was you.
Yeah.
What did you enjoy better, doing the voice acting, directing, producing at Funimation, or did on-camera stuff sort of pull you in a different direction?
In Dallas, I really thought I wanted to do more on camera. At that same time, I did a film that went to Sundance that year, and it was, really
Oh,
well
nice.
received and everything, and that was all at the same time. So I was like, this is my sign. I'm gonna go out to LA and have a film career.
That's when you decided, really.
Yeah. And then once I got to LA, realized how much more voiceover there is here than there was in Dallas, because in Dallas, Funimation is the place to be. That's
Yeah.
where you do it, and you go in every day, and it's like an office environment, right? And here, everything records in different studios. It's constantly changing up, and you don't get the same like pigeonhole that you do like when you get to know people for years and years and years. You're with them for a decade. You kind of go, this is a role for so and so. This is a role for Laura. This is a role for Brian. Where when I came out here, nobody had that anymore. It was all open again. So
then you had to really audition.
Yeah,
like
makes
crazy
sense.
to
I
get
had
the
to
parts that
prove
you-
it, in order to get anything, and it opened up the doors
Start from
in my
scratch,
brain
kind
again
of.
to voice acting, and realized how much I loved it again. So
Was it hard for you finding success in Dallas, in that, even if the pond was smaller, you were able to tackle a lot of different creative things at once at a
Right.
super young age? Was it
Yeah.
hard to come out here and then be like a smaller fish in a huger pond?
Oh yeah. One of the first jobs I ever did out here was with Liam directing me.
Really?
Yeah.
What was it?
That's so cool.
I
Okay.
can't remember. It was
Wow,
for
so
an anime.
Liam was
Yeah.
directing.
But I would probably remember if he hadn't just like gone, just Walla, because he was like, he didn't know what I could do, and he's like, I'm not gonna trust you to play this part, so I'm just gonna give you like background characters. And so I did that for him, and then slowly built up again.
Do you think he's so nice to you now because he's making up for that?
In that one session. No.
So then you end up auditioning, getting a lot of stuff, and working out here a lot.
It took a bit,
But still,
but
yeah. How long did it take? Till you felt like, okay, I'm really doing this now.
like a year before it felt like there was like I came out with my little pool of savings, and by the time I was working, I had run out of that.
Did you do any day jobs or anything like that in between, or did you just live off that savings till you were able to act full time?
I made jewelry and sold it on Etsy.
You did?
Mhm.
What kind of jewelry?
Hey,
Like necklaces and earrings.
That's a pretty
bracelets,
good
a bunch
hustle.
of stuff.
that's not bad.
So then video games come along.
Yeah.
After you got to LA, what point of your career did you start working on video games?
Video
Switching from
games.
Animated and stuff like that.
Well, I did video games in Texas actually.
Oh, really? That
Yeah.
far back?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, shit.
I started doing video games. Oh gosh, it's probably right around the same time that I started at Funimation. Maybe like at 20 I did Blood Rain was my very
Yeah,
first.
Blood
video
Rain.
game. Actually, no,
Oh,
that might be a
shit.
lie. Deus Ex might be my first video game.
Really?
It was right around the same time, but Blood Rain was my first like big.
I guess she was the main
But
character in
mocap
that. I never played
hadn't
it.
really become a thing
No,
yet
no,
at
no,
that
no.
point. So you were
Mocap
just,
was
like,
like
still
nothing
doing-
on the
yeah,
horizon
you were still
yet.
doing just voiceover stuff.
Yeah.
Was it ever hard for you, because you started directing so young and so early on in your career, was it hard for you to work with directors? Was it like, I kind of know what I'm doing already?
No,
It wasn't hard
no.
for you to take direction?
No, I honestly prefer acting to directing.
Mm.
I like the freedom that you get as an actor.
Is that why you don't really do any directing anymore? Because you
Yeah.
sort of prefer acting?
I do. I prefer acting. I mean, if the opportunity came up, I don't know if I would say no to it.
Mm.
If the timing worked out, but yeah, I prefer getting to play be in that moment.
Of course, it's fun.
At what point then in this journey does Travis circle around to, besides, you waiting 2 years to
Yeah, Laura.
a job and...
Explain yourself.
Travis and I. So after that happened, we dated briefly.
Mm-hmm.
I say briefly for like we dated for like a year,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like casual. So like we would date, and then he would wait 4 days to call me. But
he
then,
did admit that he handled that extremely poorly.
Yeah,
when
he
he was
did.
here, he was very now he knows you're gonna watch it, so of course.
Right, of
but he was
course.
very apologetic about
But no, it was a bad circle that both of us did, because he would do that, and then by the time he called me, I would be like, whatever, man.
Yeah.
And then I wouldn't call him for another 4 days, and so we would go on a date, and then it would
Ooh.
be like 2 weeks.
Petty
before
and
we'd go on another
toxic.
date, and then it would
The
happen
best
again.
kind
We'd
of
just keep doing
relationship.
that game with each other. So yeah,
Not good.
we dated for a year, but it was very casual.
And then when did that end up coming back around?
It's awesome that they were able to,
Uh,
like
when
you
he
said,
called you,
bring
you
it back
actually
around.
wanted to
You know,
answer the phone.
make it work.
Right. We started talking again over, I don't know how many years went by, but we ran into each other at a convention, and it was like, oh, you're cool, okay, you're not a dick. Let's become friends. So then we were friends, and so when I decided to move out to LA, he said he would help me find a place to live, and was very kind and
Mhm.
telling me
I
what
remember that.
areas were nice and what might be better for me, and helped me look for an apartment when I came out. And then
Did you get the idea at that point that he was interested in maybe giving it a better shot?
like he was flirting a little bit, but
But who doesn't?
right. And then and then after I moved out, then we started dating.
Was he better this time around?
He was
Obviously,
so much
you
better
married him.
this time, right?
He had his own growing up to do, though.
He was,
like we all
were
end up
20,
doing.
21.
That's
I mean,
true.
No
That's true.
relationship
dicks
at that age is good. Yeah. Nobody. You don't really have yourself figured out yet. So
Nah.
how are you going to?
Both of us were, like I said, very much in the casual dating stage. before.
Yeah. You've been married 7 years now.
Jeez,
It's a beautiful thing.
Louise. 7 years.
Why are you acting like that's new information?
Just don't think about it. 7 years. Well,
You've been
7
married
years at the
7
end of
years
this month.
at the end of this month. Yeah.
Jeez.
Most of it good.
All of it good.
You guys.
We don't get
have-
in fights.
Yeah, you don't really fight that much. Well, part of it
No.
is he cowers immediately when
Dragon
he knows
Eyes.
that you're upset. Yeah, he talked about.
Yeah, she's fierce. Yeah, I'm lucky. I'm lucky enough to I'm lucky enough to have that kind of relationship as well, where I don't really fight, or we don't fight. It's just more of a, if we have an issue, we sit down and we actually communicate and we talk about it. And it's like super civil. I think it's more healthy to do that. You know what I mean? Than to just keep it bottled up or to handle it in an unhealthy manner. I feel like communication is like super important, and I think that's like a huge factor when it comes to the successfulness or success of a relationship. It is not the factor at all. I'm not saying that, but it is a big one. But yeah, point being, I can relate to her on that. I'm very thankful. I appreciate that I got that partner. So
The Ice Queen when he was here.
Did he?
Yeah.
He didn't, did he? We're going to fight?
No, I didn't.
don't do that to Travis. Don't
The Ice Queen.
don't get him
stare is
beaten
real.
up out here.
Is it?
I can tell you from knowing you all these years that there will be something I say, and I will scan the room, tears of laughter across hundreds of people, but then I'll get to you,
And I'm like,
and you'll just have this sort of look, and then I leave.
I'm plotting your demise in those moments. Yeah.
If you catch you on the wrong day, you look like you're plotting a lot of people's demise.
Isn't that? It's when I'm tired. Probably is when I look the worst.
Are you tired
like
all the time?
Meanest. You're a dick.
Damn. She
So
got
you
that
guys end up
RBF
working on a lot of
24/7.
stuff together, but you're
Yeah.
both voice actors and you're both in LA trying to make it,
Yeah.
and you're trying to make a living doing it. That's what I mean by make it, really, because when you're first starting out, success is based on, can I just do this and pay my bills and sort of keep going? A lot of people that end up becoming a spouse or in a relationship with someone that has the same career that they do, there's competition and there's sometimes a lot of friction and stuff.
Right.
Did you guys experience any of that?
Honestly, no. And I think it came from in our past relationships. I dated people that were very combative and very competitive in that way. And anytime you would get a job, you would deal with them being angry at you or mean to you for a few days
Yikes.
until they got over it that they hadn't booked it. It's a
Jealousy.
terrible terrible thing.
Yeah.
And it happens a lot when actors date actors, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I just never dealt with that with Travis, and I never felt that way for Travis. Both of us were very supportive of any job that the other one got.
A win for them was
That's
a
how
win
it
for
should
both
be.
of
I mean, yeah,
ultimately.
you're a partnership. Why wouldn't it be?
Yas, queen, preach.
Was there ever any jobs or any experiences where people were concerned about the fact that you guys were together and then working on a project together?
There were several times that they didn't realize that we were together until we got to the job. When we were both on Halo,
Yeah.
they had no idea we were together. We both
Because you still use your
Yeah.
better last name.
exactly.
Right, yeah.
So yeah, we booked the job and then we showed up together holding hands, and they were like, "Oh, well, congratulations!
It's a
You guys are
thing.
dating." We're like,
You
"Oh,
guys
fine,
are a
we're
thing."
married."
So we've
Yeah,
been
they had
married for a
no
couple
idea.
years.
And then when we worked on Second Son, I think they were a little concerned because Infamous Second Son, because
yeah.
we were working on it with Troy, and me and
Such an amazing game, by the way. Love the Infamous series. They need to remake the first two. Because, great games. Great series. They need to make another one. I just want more Infamous, honestly. Sucker Punch. Come on now, get on it.
Troy were love interests in it, which
Mm.
happened
Go
in
back a
Second
bit.
Son. I think they were a little concerned because Infamous Second Son, because
yeah.
we were working on it with Troy, and me and Troy were love interests in it, which happens a lot. And then Travis was like the brother that I didn't get along with, which was really funny. So they were a little like, is this going to be weird? Is this going to
Yeah.
work? And it's like,
Because you had to do a sort of semi-intimate moment with Troy, who's like a brother to you. So that was like,
yeah, we had to kiss.
yeah, I remember asking Travis his side of that entire thing, if he was sitting there in the corner, just like
texting.
fuming.
No, he stood off to the side pointing.
He was pointing, laughing.
Yeah, he
the whole
pointed.
time.
I mean, he literally, while we were filming, like, did that as a joke, but it was, yeah.
No tongue.
Don't ever. Like, after that first kiss, me and Troy, like, broke off, and both of us took off running the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just going.
Then you end up in a Naughty Dog game,
Yeah.
Uncharted 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uncharted 4.
What was that like? A lot of people, that's sort of a big leap in their career to end up in a AAA
I know, right?
game like that, where you have a pretty significant part to the
Yeah.
storyline. And
It was extra, like, because we're such good friends with Troy and Ashley, and they had just talked so much about what it was like to work with Neil, and I wanted to be in that game so bad. And again, when I was auditioning for Last of Us, I was just like, the pain I felt in those auditions of just like, God, I hope I do a good job. I really, 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 really want to do this. Yeah, it's hard to not let your nerves get the better of you when you're doing that.
what was the attraction there?
Hated who you played in The Last of Us 2, but god damn it, you did a great job, Laura. You did a great job.
A lot of it because they're known
Sorry.
for. It's fine. A lot of it because they're known for telling great stories and
Yeah.
really exploring characters, but the collaborative aspect there had to be attractive because
Yeah.
I know you're somebody that wants to do heavy research and planning and figuring a character out ahead of time and throughout the entire process of working on a character.
And you want to be working with people that you can trust, that they're going to make your performance the best that it can be. And, sometimes you work on a project and maybe your director isn't somebody that you trust that well, and like the whole time you're going, what are they going to do with this? Is this going to come together okay? And I'm #blessed with that a lot, to get to work with different developers that really
care.
They care.
Yeah.
And that's happening more and more. I haven't worked on a project in the last few years with anybody that didn't just fully commit themselves to their project,
I think there's a lot more at stake nowadays, and I think that there's so much competition and games are kind of expensive, and they know that in order to sort of carve out a space or really cut through the noise, it has to be a compelling piece of
Yeah.
art. And so people that are more willing to work and flesh out characters and storylines.
Yeah. And now, you know, they see one game that has a compelling story and it makes them want to do something better, and then it keeps growing from there.
Yep. Character types.
What kind of characters do you like to play the most?
Gosh. Like, it's really fun to play villains,
Mm-hmm.
but like anti-heroes, I think are really fun. I always love playing characters that have like a romantic interest too, though.
It's
I'm
because you're sort of a hopeless romantic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopeless because of who you married, but
Yeah.
romantic nonetheless.
I just love those stories so much.
Yeah.
I just love it, and then when you get to be part of that story.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Because
Oh
that's
my
the stuff you like
God.
to read, right?
Yeah, porn. No. No.
Hey,
that-
hey,
where
yo,
we-
hey, hey, yo, hey, Laura, hey, calm down now.
Like to read.
This is
Right.
G-rated.
Porn.
This is a
No.
G-rated.
No, that where we-
This is PG interview, man. What you doing?
If you like to read, right?
Yeah, porn. No. No, that where we.
What's your favorite genre? I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Just playing.
What are we talking about?
The characters
Renegade.
that you've created yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of Critical Role and the two characters that you've played on that show
Yes.
now for some time each,
Mm.
when you're approaching, because it's obviously different than when someone hands you a script and says, this is the character, even if you're in a super collaborative and creative environment like Naughty Dog, where you have a lot of say, and some of these other developers, where you end up having a lot of say about what that character is like, and
Yeah.
you know, from its inception to when you know you wrap on that game, there's a lot of conversation and collaboration there. In this situation, you make up someone for this home game and immediately took to the RP side. Everybody that I've talked to about back in those days when you guys were just a home game said that you immediately had no problem going into the RP, where for a lot of people, for role playing can be a little awkward at first. It's
think they're
weird,
just
you're
used to
sitting
it,
in
you
your
know,
normal
from their
clothes, you're on
background.
the table, there's no
Right.
cameras. Why do you think you took to that so
That's what I think.
quickly?
Because I played a lot of role-playing games on computer.
Oh,
You
well.
think that was a big part of it?
I fully think that's why.
That's
I
not what I
know,
thought she was
'cause
gonna
My
say,
favorite
but-
games were Mass Effect and Dragon Age, right?
Mhm.
And all the King's
Oh.
Quest games. I mean, all those things growing up. And so I was used to, you walk into a scenario and these are your dialogue options, and you know this has this effect, right?
Yeah.
That's an
So
interesting
I
way to
just
think of
approached
it.
it like I would do in a video game, and that's why it worked.
It worked great.
It worked out.
What was important to you about Vex?
What was important to me? Well,
What was important to you? What were her characteristics that you felt like, as the thing became more serious and it
Right.
was like, this is going to be a fully fleshed out character, what were the important sort of tempos for you of going like, I kind of want her to be, obviously you said you wanted her to be hot, you know, when you were talking about,
Obviously.
yeah, but I mean, personality wise.
I wanted her to be strong and
Mhm.
snarky and confident.
Definitely
hot.
got that across.
And really, that was pretty much it when we started.
Were those the characteristics you identified with in characters that you played in video games? or
Yeah,
that
that's
you
how
read
those
and
were like the
liked?
options that I would always choose. Like
Yeah.
like I said, the anti-hero. I wanted that like renegade sort of option where you know you say something shitty but you do the right thing. You know,
Mhm.
that's what I wanted her to be like.
Hey,
Um,
nailed it.
and I didn't even realize like it's so funny because when we were first filming those opening credits, like the ones where it was like the stop.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think, everyone was like, come up with something that you would do for your character, like a pose or something you can do. And I was like, well, maybe I could have like a bag of coins, or I can flip a coin or something. Which I hadn't even registered that she was greedy until we really started playing on the stream. But
Mhm.
at that point, I was like, well, I do like money in the game, so maybe I'll do something with coins.
Yeah, see, like the whole part about the campaign, that what she's talking about, I don't really know much. I just know, obviously, just based off of the first season of The Legend of Vox Machina. I know of her character, how it's portrayed on there. I was talking to my cousins yesterday. Well, the one cousin that's like super into the D&D and he knows his stuff, and he actually caught up on a lot of this stuff. And he was telling me about the differences between all the characters of how they're portrayed in the show and how they are portrayed in the campaign. Uh, Mainly, we're having a big discussion about Marisha and Keyleth and Laura and Vex because of my opinions on how I viewed those characters in the show, and I didn't quite understand why there was like all this hate about the characters until he broke down how they are portrayed in their actions in the campaign because they're different. There is a difference there, so it made me kind of understand it a little bit more. So yeah, based off of what she's saying quite here about the greedy thing, my cousin told me that yesterday. That she was like more of like a greedy, tries to be very regal, uh, kind of like fake regal. You know what I mean? But anyways, let's see what else she says.
Who's greedy until we really started playing on the stream. But
Mhm.
at that point, I was like, well, I do like money in the game, so maybe I'll do something with coins. And then it wasn't until we like started playing more and more that I was like, oh shit, she's a greedy little bitch.
Interesting.
But I love it.
So you sort
That's
of
funny.
realized that,
That is
About
something
her.
that grew as we were playing more and more and more. Yeah.
and then you knew you wanted to have a romantic interest
No.
because that's
That's what we
MO.
do. Yeah, no. I had no idea. Like, I don't think I ever realized that you could have anything like that in a D&D game.
Really?
Of course.
Yeah, no, that didn't
Yeah.
enter my brain at all. Not until Liam, like, did the first initiation. Vex told Keyleth he was in love with her. I mean, like, I was blown away that was an option, that
Yeah.
was something you could do. It
Yeah.
hadn't registered.
She was like, "Did he just confess love? Is this a dynamic? Lit."
And then after that, you were like, I must have this.
No, even then, I don't know how it happened with Vex and Percy. I really don't.
Fast forward, you're in a bathtub.
I mean, it's
Fast
pretty.
forward.
Oh
Most
shit!
Lots
iconic
of sex.
scene of campaign 1.
Man.
Bathing with
Ooh, hold on a
Percy.
second. Season 2, where you at though? I don't know when that's gonna happen, but that's gonna be interesting to see animated. Damn, so they get down like that. See, I call these things. It's very clear that there is something between them. Even in this first season, I knew it. I knew it. I knew it was gonna go. It was gonna go places. So that's cool. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't say the two most fit to be leaders, because they're both fucked in the head a little bit. Uh, I would say Vex definitely overall would be the leader I'd pick over Percy, but I don't know how his character changes throughout the campaign and whatnot. That's a dynamic duo right there, baby. Pretty cool duo.
Man was so pissed.
Why?
Wait, what?
Campaign 1,
Man,
bathing with Percy.
Liam was so pissed
Why?
about that moment. Because he had this really great conversation, and
Oh,
I
and then-
fucked it all with coming up out of the bathtub.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the first.
Wait. Liam? What? Wait, what? Wait, isn't... Okay, maybe I got confused. I thought that he was saying that she and Percy were in a bathtub. Is it Taliesin? Is he not in the bath? Well, whatever. Is he not? Whatever. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out when I see it. If y'all want to break it down for me, you can.
So you play that character for years.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you level up
Yeah.
and you experience all of the sort of tangible characteristics, and you get more spells and skills and shit like that you end up getting. But how, playing a character over that long amount of time, how do you still create arcs and bring out more of their personality? Doesn't it feel like after 2 years you've sort of explored everything you can? How do you
Do you
keep
feel
it
like
alive?
after 2 years of being you that you've explored every aspect of yourself?
I felt that way
Ooh.
around 4.
Ooh, why you hitting us with that right now?
Felt
That's
that way since.
such a deep question.
No, I feel like
No, but that's an interesting perspective, yeah.
It's just your person, right? In
Yeah.
the game, there's always something new. That's why if somebody says this is out of character, that's not something you do. I don't believe that, because I do spontaneous things that
True.
somebody wouldn't expect.
Yeah.
True.
And it just all it does is introduce a different aspect of myself and go, oh my God, I can do that.
So you leave room for growth too.
Yeah.
You never lock it off and say, I think this is about as far as this character is going to go.
No.
Because you really don't have a choice when you're in a campaign where the story is
Just
outside
keeps-
of your
yeah,
hands.
exactly. But that's the thing. When the story is outside of your hands, then your only option is to react to that and grow because of that.
That's true.
How do you think role playing and improv and all the stuff that you end up having to use as a skill on the show has grown over the last few years for you?
I mean, massively.
You think quicker. You have to make decisions super fast.
Absolutely,
it's
yeah.
much easier to react in character when you're, But, that's, I don't know, that might be a lie.
What do you
Because
mean?
that was always one of my favorite things anyway about theater or anything is the reaction. So I know a lot of actors that it's that joke of bullshit, bullshit, my line, bullshit, bullshit, my line. And they don't ever have anything going on outside of, this is my motivation and this is why I'm doing something. And they don't think about,
The bigger
we're having a
picture.
conversation and you've got to react to that. If you do something spontaneous, I'm going to do something to
Yeah.
react to
To
that. It's
react
going to
to that.
change
I
my
mean, I-
performance.
Right.
And if it
I
doesn't
didn't even
change
think
your
about that.
performance,
That's true.
then you're doing it wrong,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Is there anything...
In my opinion.
No, I understand what you're saying. Is there anything or anywhere that you wanted Vex to go that you weren't able to? Is there anything with that character that you felt was unexplored by the end of that story?
I don't think so. No, because he gave us that wonderful,
Epilogue.
to go, where would you go with this? Where would life take them? Yeah.
How hard was it for you to say goodbye to that character?
That was hard.
Yeah.
It was weird because there was an excitement about starting something new, but I still miss her.
I mean,
I
when-
still find myself.
When you're attached to a character and you are playing this character, this is like your baby, right? For years. Yeah, you're gonna get attached. It's gonna kind of seem weird when, okay, we're done with that character. On to the next campaign. Pick a new one. Start from scratch with somebody new that you got to find yourself again. Find who that character is again. I mean, I get it. You kind of build a bond with that character, as strange as that may seem. I get it. It's just like anything else, you build like an attachment.
Fighting a reaction that would be more Vex than it is Jester.
So then it comes time to create an all-new character. What was different this time about creating that one versus the first one? Because you obviously knew the game better.
Right.
You had all these years of experience.
I'm still
under your
shit
belt.
at creating a character that is like thinking about the mechanics of the game, though. I'm bad at that.
As far as what you pick out for all of your utilities and
Yeah,
stuff?
just terrible. Because I think about it in terms of RP, and so I'm like, ooh, yeah, I'm gonna have this spell, or I'm gonna like have this cool weapon. That is just shit. Really, when you have it in the game, there's like no good reason for it.
But it makes sense in the RP element for the
Right.
character for you. So to you, that's a more important choice.
Yes, until I'm in combat and I'm like,
Yeah, why did
yeah,
I
and I'm
choose
watching
this?
like Marisha like totally like kicking so much ass with all of her monk skills, and I'm like, what did I do?
But my candy
but,
cane.
But I have a lollipop. Yeah.
Baby got backstories.
When you talk about backstories, are you the type of actor? Because a lot of people do this, where if you don't know the history, the genesis, the backstory of a character that someone hands you in a script, is that something that you think about? Is it important for you as an actor to know this is where this person came from, this is what their ideals are, this is sort of what their moral center is, or is that something that mainly you just think about when you're creating your own character?
No, I mean, depending on how long I'm going to be with a character, like I don't necessarily do that for everything, but for the projects that you're going to be working on for a long time, I certainly like to know all of those things. But oftentimes with an audition or something like that, you just go in and I want to know where I'm coming from, at least,
That's
like,
the context that you feel like makes you most comfortable and ready to play that
Yeah.
to play that character.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you have fun writing a backstory
Yeah.
for the characters that you've created yourself.
Yeah, it's more intimidating to do it for a character that somebody else created. You know, like
I
when,
mean,
when
yeah,
we
I
were
would
working
think
on
so.
Uncharted and Neil.
I mean, if you think about that, right? You're gonna be more familiar with something that you're like the concept you're coming up with and having to understand and like uh, keep to memory all these things about this character that is kind of you got to learn this character. It's kind of this character's thrust onto you, So I get it. I feel like that that's normal. Oh, sorry, my bad. I was gonna burp. Try to. Anyways, anyways, hold on. Let me just finish this sip. All right, we in there.
You know, like when we were working on Uncharted and Neil, he called me on the phone and he's like, "Okay, let's talk about Nadine," and he's like, "What's her favorite band? What's her favorite song? You know, what does she like to do for hobbies?" And like that stuff I very rarely think about for any. Honestly, the only other characters I've ever done that for have been for this
For Critical Role, yeah.
we make our playlists and stuff, you know.
Yo,
and
I
it's
didn't
like,
even
it's
realize
so
she
weird to
played
think about
Nadine.
what would Nadine
Holy
do
shit.
when she's just sitting at home?
Yeah.
You know, and it opens up this whole different aspect of the character. Like
Yeah.
you realize, oh, you're not just like this badass that just kicks butt. You have a life.
Yeah.
What is that life?
What does it look like? What does it sound like?
Yeah.
Nadine's a badass. She was giving Nate and Sam
What do you
that
wanna
work,
know
man.
before you either sit at the table that first day or you show up on set that first day? What are the most important things for you to go like, I can figure some of this stuff out later, but I want to have this? Because for a lot of actors, that question can be answered very differently.
Yeah.
What are those tenets for you?
Like,
You don't like to play a damsel in distress, for instance.
no, I don't.
So for you, an important thing is that it not be someone that constantly has to be rescued or
Right.
lean on a man or another character or et cetera, to be... It's not that you only play independent characters, but I know that that's
Right.
something that's important to you.
I have this weird tendency, though, to read dialogue and read a scene from a perspective that it's not a damsel in distress. So, like, a lot of times which gets me in trouble, like, if I'm reading a book and the character's lame or something like that, I'll read it in my head that she's not lame. Like, she's saying all these stupid things, but sarcastically.
You'll transform it in your mind.
Yeah, and then when I realize, oh, they were really just a damsel in distress. Here I thought they were really badass this whole time. So yeah, I tend to approach it from that angle anyway.
Yeah.
But it's always nice when the creators support that.
Right.
Yeah.
Hooker number 3. What a
Interactive
role.
entertainment is obviously a lot different than it was 10 years ago when you moved out here.
True, Brian. Very true.
Statement. There's a lot of conversation in the last few years about women's roles in interactive entertainment. It seems like things are shifting. It seems like the conversation is changing. Like, there's not a lot of characters that you find now in a leading role that are a damsel in distress or
really
that
not.
fit those tropes.
Yeah, and there's a concerted effort to make sure it's not like that.
Yeah,
I'll be in a session.
I honestly like that a lot better. The damsel in distress trope is so played out. I don't want the pendulum to swing the other way, though. The complete other way, to where it's like you never see it, because too much of anything is a bad thing. So as long as I keep things interesting, keep mixing it up, I don't mind. But as of right now, it's a beautiful thing, man. Keep giving us strong female leads. Give our women some backbone and some strength and intelligence, and let's not make them all airheads or damsels. It's 2022, man. Gotta get with the times.
And they'll say, what can we do? How can we change this line to make her not seem weak?
Yeah.
We don't want it to be that. We want her to be self-reliant.
Does it seem like that was not really a part of the conversation when you were first starting out?
That wasn't
Because-
even in the thought process when I first started.
Yeah. Is it refreshing for you as an actor that also happens to be a woman that is progressing and it's changing. It's opening up better roles for you. It's opening up better roles for a lot of other female actors.
Yeah. I mean, fingers crossed I won't have to do, the embarrassing sessions anymore that I had to do a lot.
When you were younger?
When I was,
Yeah.
Even not so, so...
She played hooker number 3 in something?
I'm pretty sure I told you that story, but I'm going to say it
Tell
again.
me again.
When the day that Infamous First Light came out, which was...
the DLC for Infamous.
Yeah, and I was so proud of it because Fetch was such an awesome character and such a strong character. And
yeah, she's
took
cool
her
as hell.
circumstances and used them to her advantage. And I was really proud of it and proud of her strength. And I had a recording session that day, and I showed up. I didn't know what it was for. And I showed up, and I walked in the door, and they said, okay, so you're going to be playing hooker number 3, and if you could just, make some noises like, you're having sex.
Oh, man.
The player character's going to walk over past this door, and they're going to hear sex on the inside. And I was just like...
Nice.
And it was just like this moment of,
yeah.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
Because you're on the same day that you're celebrating this character that is strong and
strong and empowered and all that.
Against a lot of those tropes, and then
and what's crazy is
That's so weird.
played so many voices of hookers in the past. You don't even think about it. It's just it's in games so much.
Yeah.
It's just the juxtaposition of like you have this character that's just not that, and like the same day you revert back to having to play that role again, and you really like realize, I guess, because it's like whiplash. It's like, wait, what? Like again, So that's definitely gonna open your eyes,
Yeah, that it had never crossed my mind in the past that when I'm doing that, and that was the.
I'm curious. Anybody watching? Are any of you guys into voice acting or acting at all, or do you know anybody who is? Let me know. What, if you got any stories or any little tidbits of info, some fun facts, let us know.
First time it went, I don't want to do this. I still did it.
Who would,
But you don't take roles like that anymore. Right?
Not if they tell me what it's gonna be. And now, if I walked in and they would be like, "You're playing a hooker," I'd be like, "Am I?
Yeah.
Am I? I don't know."
Yeah.
I'm a mom. I can't play a hooker anymore.
Yeah. Plot twist, guys. This hooker is about to kill everyone.
Right?
Yeah. Well,
I actually
I have
that
to throw
day.
away my script for Murder Hookers 3.
That day I did play disinterested hooker because I refused to sound like I was having a good
Wait,
time.
they changed it to...
I just
Nice.
all the lines that I
Disinterested
did. They were
hooker?
like,
Oh,
it's
that is beautiful, Laura. Bravo. Good job. Good job. Hit him with the Uno reverse card.
if you're playing it like that, we're okay with it because I was not about to actually sound like I was having sex.
Yay.
Yeah.
I love this.
Oh, that feels so good.
Wow, you're like sarcastic hooker.
Yeah, so that's what I did.
More, please. Wow, I hope this goes on forever.
You really know what you're doing. That's amazing.
Is your name actually John? People have conversations a lot about tolerance, and they say tolerance is, the key to harmony and et cetera, being tolerant of all kinds of different types of people. You're somebody that has always chosen to transcend tolerance towards love and acceptance.
Of course, man.
Come from
Positive vibes, man.
If I look at your group of friends and I look at the people that you're closest to, there are several different types of people mixed into there.
Yeah.
And you seem to be a lot more accepting of people and of different types of personalities. Where do you think that comes from?
Fuck, I don't know. I mean, my mom was always big on just empathy and making sure that we understood where other people were coming from. And anytime, even just walking down the street and seeing like a homeless person on the street and asking for money, it was never just, this is just a person sitting on the street. Like, there's a lot of people that just walk by, and it was always, who is that person? Where do they come from? Why are they doing what they do? And what can you do to help them?
Such a good message, man. I'm definitely one of those people that will hesitate to just walk past somebody. It's like that. I remember excuse me, I worked this is like years ago, 5 6 years ago. Um, I was at work. I was working security, and there was this man who had like passed out outside of the location I was working at. It's like an older guy. Um, and people were like worried about him because he wasn't like responding to anybody. Long story short, I went up to him, uh, put my hand on his shoulder, tried to nudge him a little bit, hey, sir, wake up, wake up. Uh, he finally woke up, and he was like high as a kite, and also he was drunk, or he was drunk. I think he was like sobering up at the time, but he was just slumped, just not even slumped. He was like laid out, like on like the sidewalk area. Anyways, instead of just saying, "Hey man, you gotta you gotta get out of here, man. You can't be here," I actually like talked to him. I was like, "Hey, my name's Joe. I work security at this location. I just saw you here. I want to make sure you're okay, man. Everything all right?" And he's like, "Oh, thanks, Joe. Oh, you're a kind guy. Nobody really stops to make sure I'm okay. They kind of just kicked me to the curb, and we kind of like laughed about it, and then we just started talking, and he told me about how he was going through like some issues with his family. He had he had a kid that because the guy was older, so it wasn't a kid. It was it was his child, I should say. It was his kid, but it wasn't a kid. And they were going through it, and he was an alcoholic, a drug addict, and everything. And he was just giving me like his whole story. And we were talking for a minute, and I had like told the people that I was doing security for, because at the time I was like in a plaza, and I think it was a Burger King that was in the plaza. And I told them, hey, I'm actually gonna take my break now. Is that okay? And they said sure. So I went, took my break, went up to the guy, and I was like, hey man, let's go grab some lunch. You hungry? He was like, oh yeah, let's go. So I uh, went to Burger King. I know it ain't nothing luxurious, but do was happy nonetheless, because nobody really stopped to do this for the guy. So I got him whatever he wanted, and I got myself whatever I wanted. We sat down, we ate together. Um, we just were shooting the shit. He was telling me a little more about himself, and like at the end of it, he kind of like shed a tear, started to cry a little bit. He was like emotional because he said thank you. Nobody's nobody's ever really done that for me. Like I said that he was saying before, people would like normally kick him to the curb, and that was like a moment that I'll always remember. Stuff like that doesn't happen often for me, but it's not like I'm out here, doing things like that on the daily. But my point is that I had the opportunity to kind of go above and beyond and help somebody, and instead of just kicking them to the curb or treating them like they're not a human, like you gotta understand everybody's a human being, and everybody's got their own story. Um, can't just dismiss somebody because they're different than you or you don't understand them. You can't just fear what you don't understand. Um, try to try to put yourself in other people's shoes, and like the title card said, have a little bit of empathy for everyone. So anyways, to finish up the story, um, uh, gave the guy a hug. I told him to stay safe. Um, and he kind of went on his way. Not disrespectful at all. He was like, okay, um, I get the hint. Basically, he was saying like, I won't, I'll let you do your thing. Won't be a nuisance. Is basically what he was telling me. And yeah, he went about his way, and I never met the guy again because I worked security at that place. I think like maybe like I think it was maybe like 2 or 3 other times, and I never saw the guy again. Uh, Hopefully he's doing okay. But yeah, man, just try to try to be a positive dude. Like I'm not just one of these people that says like, oh, positive vibes, or that I'm thankful for everything or to be nice. Like nah, like I live it, man. Like I mean it. Like I'm that guy that's gonna be holding a door open for 10 people. When I get to a location, and people that I'm with will be like, dude, come on, bro, come on, they got it. And I'm just like, no, 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 I got it, and I hold the door open. So, um, it ain't like I said. I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm just trying to say like, if you can be that difference, be that difference. I don't just talk it. I walk it in that sense. So positive vibes, man. Spread positivity. Be the positive change that you would like to see, man. And with that, I'm gonna shut the hell up and let's continue.
Mm.
And that was when I was even a kid. And then, you know, we all go through different things in life that make you realize different things. You know, my sister is a lesbian, and she came out very early, and I don't even know, I was 10 or 12 when she came
Okay,
out.
yeah. So she was a teenager.
Yeah, she was a teenager, and I saw that it was very hard for her, and saw what she was going through, and there was never a part of me that was like, you know, she needs to change or that needs to be different. It was always, isn't anybody else seeing that, and why are people being mean to her for this, or why can't she be happy?
Because you knew her.
Why isn't she allowed to be happy? That doesn't make sense.
Yeah, because her sexuality is just a small part of what makes her her, and you saw all those other parts. So to you, that sort of prejudice didn't make sense.
It doesn't. None of it makes sense. I always think that, you know, that racism or bigotry or anything like that is a product of environment, and the only way that people are going to overcome that is exposure.
Yeah.
Because anybody that's around different cultures and different races and different sexualities, anybody that's around that a lot realizes, oh, everybody's just human.
Yeah.
You're not going to keep that prejudice if you are around it and you see it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm
and
saying.
if you're in a little bubble of this environment, then maybe that's why you still feel that way. And you know, kids that are brought up in a racist environment, maybe that's why all they need to do is get away from it.
Is actually experience more of what's in the world, and they'll have.
And it's a horrible thing that if you're in that bubble and you never see outside of that bubble, you don't even know. It's so sad.
What?
Real quick on that, man. Just to speak on what she's saying, like, in the words of my favorite rapper of all time, Nas. Not a little Nas X. I ain't talking about him. I'm talking about Nas. I mean, he's probably quoting somebody else when he said this, but he said, people fear what they don't understand and hate what they can't conquer. I guess it's just the theory of man. So we got to try to break that cycle, man, and try to be a little more open-minded. Like, you know, she's speaking facts. This is everything I was saying. So I'm with you, Laura. Me and you, we in there.
Was it really hard to watch your sister go through a lot of that sort of, you know, treatment? And because your family was accepting of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. They were very quickly accepting of it, but it was a shock.
Yeah.
I was never shocked by it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Your sisters, you understood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was so funny when she came out, you know, and my dad was like, "It's a phase."
Oh, really?
And my
What?
mom was like, "I just don't know what's going on." And I remember at like age 10 going to my mom and going, "You know, Jenny's talked about boys that were cute before. Maybe she's bi." And my mom was like, "Well,
she's like, you're not making me feel better right now."
Yeah, it's just whatever to me. I was just like, whatever. Yeah, they over.
Love is love, man.
Okay,
Love is love.
Shock, I guess, very quick.
As long as you ain't hurting
Having
nobody,
a sister going through that in high school.
ain't doing nothing illegal.
It was hard for her in high school.
Love is love.
Yeah, I can imagine. And I was a few years younger than her, but you know, I saw friendships come and go for her because of that.
Did you guys become closer because of that and because of her kind of going through that, or do you guys seem to always have been close?
Yeah,
right?
we just it might have been the moving around. I don't know. We just always got along so well. I mean, you know, we fought because we were sisters.
Of course.
like
Of
you do.
course.
You're going to.
She was
Sibling
always
rivalry.
so peaceful, and I was the kid that would be like, I would hold her down, even though I was 3 years younger, and I would try to beat her up. Or like we'd be in the back seat, and I would be like, and then go, "Ow, Mom, Jenny's hitting me!" Like,
Did you hear that?
Yo, that's big brain. It's fucked up, but that's actually big brain. It's clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was me. That shit had. Cheers.
You gotta drink more.
I feel like I'm drinking so much.
Well, it's good, isn't it?
It is.
She's
really
getting lost in the sauce.
How old do you think Ronan, your son, will be when he first says,
His name is Ronan? Oh, that is so fire. Oh my gosh. They named their kid Ronan. They just set a new bar.
Mama.
Those magic
what?
3 words to you that every
Where are you
mother
gonna go with this?
that every mother
What's
wants
good,
to hear their child
bitches?
say, which is, I love football.
Oh God, it's already on TV, and he's already watching it.
Baby's first words are roll for initiative.
Does he focus? Does it look like, is Travis watching him watch
That would be
TV
fire.
when the Cowboys are on, going connection? Let's
No,
make a
because
connection here.
when it's on TV, Travis doesn't see anything other than the television. So, like, he probably doesn't even know his son's in the room.
Mhm.
That's so shitty. That's a lie.
That's a total
That's
lie.
a total lie.
I'm censor
No,
barring
yeah,
the fuck out of
yeah,
that.
no, that's a total lie. No, he's like doesn't know what it is yet, but you know, there's like movement and stuff, so he'll be in his little like play mat, and you can move him any direction, and he's still like
Yeah. Yeah.
trying to find the TV.
Mm-hmm. Let me raise on a tablet.
He's got so many Cowboys clothes already.
I know.
He's got Cowboys shoes, Cowboys hat.
Gotta
My
represent.
sister bought him a Chiefs onesie. My
Ooh,
family's a Chiefs family.
Chappie
Yeah,
must
but
have not been
They
happy.
have to know that there's no conversion that's going to happen there.
It'll just be on a Chiefs day he wears the Chiefs stuff. On a Cowboys day he wears the Cowboy stuff.
Yeah, that
Travis,
works.
a lot of people don't know this, but his back is completely covered in a giant
Cowboy
Cowboys
star.
Oh, that's,
And,
that's nice.
Also an Emmett Smith signature. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was trying to think of
you
something
don't know-
Cowboysy, and I
he
couldn't
hasn't
even.
been a player for 20 years.
You know,
Good job, Laura. Good job.
You're a mom now.
I'm a mom.
About 9 weeks into
10 weeks
10
today,
weeks
bitch.
Today.
Yeah.
Really?
10
How does
weeks.
it feel? Is it overwhelming? Is it is it exciting? Is it all of those things?
It's all of that. It's all of that.
Travis used the word terrifying. Do you feel the same way?
Nah,
You don't.
no, I don't feel terrified.
You obviously took to it quite naturally.
Don't most moms? Don't most parents? I don't know. Do
I
they?
think so. I think there's definitely still some panic. There's a shock for people like us that are not older, but you know, we're older than our parents were when they started having kids.
Oh yeah.
You're set in your ways a little bit.
Okay,
Is it a
that
shock to the system?
that
in that
panic
way?
is real. That
Okay.
because even when I was just getting bigger and getting bigger, it was like we are really comfortable doing what we do. You know, we're used to even just coming here and playing until who knows when, and when it ends, it ends. Then you go home. Who cares?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, when he's out, and it's like I can't just play until eternity. I
have human I must care for.
It's to be fed.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yeah.
And that's life now.
Must-
just constantly
must protect
going,
human.
When did he last eat? Because he's surviving based on what I provide for him. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's crazy.
What are some of the most important things that you want him to grow up knowing about the world?
Oh my god.
Like, what are the? Because you have to. Obviously, you guys are thinking about that stuff. You're in that parent panic, but you're also in that. I want to raise this kid. It's a new world compared to the
I
early
know.
'80s when we were born and
Is it
growing
sad that
up.
I just want him to know love and to want him to be happy
That's not sad.
and to be a good person? All I want is for him to be a good human
Hmm.
and a happy human.
Thankfully, he has Travis as an example.
Right, because he'd be fucked if it was just me.
Nah, Laura, you'd be alright.
When I talked to Travis, we talked about him losing his dad at a young age.
Yeah.
Now he's a father himself. You guys have this beautiful boy.
Yeah.
He has taken to it so naturally. How cool is that for you to see?
It's so wonderful. He's a really good dad already.
He is. Yeah.
Oh, Laura, don't
More?
cry. Don't
You
do
want
it.
More already? Are you one of those
Dick,
people
are
that
you
immediately
fucking
was
Barbara
like,
Walters?
yeah,
Yes.
I know.
Bring it back. Reel it in.
Did you
Reel
grow
it
up
in,
wanting
Laura.
a lot of kids, or did you grow up
No.
wanting like one kid, or?
I always thought two, just because we had two in our family, but then the whole time Travis and I have been married, it's just kind of been like, just the one, right? Probably just the one.
Yeah.
So we probably just have the one.
Do you
I mean, who knows? In 3 years, I might change my mind, but
You might change your mind.
yeah.
Is stability
He's a
And
really good dad, Brian.
he's a great dad. No, that's why I'm saying he took to it so naturally,
know.
and I know that he had a great example.
He did.
And we talked about that. Even though that was sort of cut short, he is somebody that sort of raised his younger brother as well, and like had to take care of a lot of things. So
Yeah.
it makes sense that he would take to it naturally.
Yeah.
Is stability and consistency something that you feel like you want to have in the structure of your life because you guys moved around so much and things were it was hard for you to make friends and everything? And I know we're in a business
Yeah.
that's very fluid, and do you think about that?
Honestly, I don't think it hurt me having that sort of environment growing up. I feel like I didn't think anything of it, when we would move from one place to another. And I think it probably, if anything, helped me be exposed, like I said, to
Yeah.
a lot of different types of people.
Absolutely, absolutely.
No, I mean, obviously stability with us, yes. I always want to be there for him and everything, but I think seeing the world is a good thing.
Thanks for coming on.
Oh my God, are we done? We're
I think so.
done.
I said we'll go until the tears come.
You fuck.
And then I've gotten what I've wanted.
My job is complete. My
Thank
work
you
is
so
done
much.
here.
Thanks, Brian.
I think we should finish these though.
Just chug it?
You want to?
No, I don't
Damn,
want to chug
I was
it.
gonna say.
I got so. Should I have gotten a little sippy straw?
I gotta feed the baby. I gotta feed the baby after I've drank,
The
and this has
baby's
gone
gonna be
away.
white
It's not
girl
gonna be like,
wasted.
he's not gonna drink while I'm drinking.
That was a fantastic interview. It's really cool to learn a little bit more about Laura because I didn't really know much about her. She seems like a very kind, caring person, and in that sense, her and Travis are definitely made for one another because they're both mad chill, mad kind. I feel like I know it's really cliche to say, but I feel like in that respect, I would get along with them very well. It's crazy how they both initially weren't going to go this route. Travis was going to be an athlete. She was going to be a biologist. And not only did they both come to being actors, predominantly voice actors, but then they actually met each other through it, and they're both like wildly successful. Now they have a family, and they have made all these connections and made all these wonderful friends through their profession, through each other, and it's a beautiful thing, man. Now they got Critical Role and all this other stuff. I like seeing success stories, and I like seeing super kind people, super good people succeed and get what they deserve, man. So yeah, this is a great this is a great one. I like this one a lot. Let me know what you guys thought down below in the comments. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. It has been coming on a whole hour and a half of content. So, hey, hope you guys enjoy it. Continue with the amazing support. And, yeah, man, I will see you guys in the next video. Have a good morning, afternoon, or night. Do all the good things. Peace.